Hi, this is a quick video just looking at how we can use Google Slides to help support remote learning. So to begin with the basics, if we're in a Google Classroom and we want to create an assignment, then it doesn't always have to be a Google Doc. Sometimes you might want to consider using a slide task. Okay, so what can we do here? Well, first of all, you can invite the pupils to make their own presentation and upload it, and that might get you a mix of PDFs and PowerPoints. So you might actually want to use Click Create and create a blank slide for them to type into. However, what's probably best is if you have pre-prepared what might work best though is if you have pre-prepared templates. So to add a template you've made already, go to Add and then look at the Google Drive icon, click on that, and the best thing to do is probably just edit the one you want to load straight before you load it, and it shows up straight away in your most recent items. Look at your different items. For example, I wanted to load this one up. You just select it by double clicking on it, and then you've got different options. Now, if it's just a presentation that you're using in the classroom, you might want them just to be able to view it. What we're going to focus on here is using this to make interactive kind of worksheets. So different options we've got here. If I select students can edit the file, that means that all of the students that are assigned to this assignment can edit the same file. So at the moment this is going to my whole class. Now I might use this, for example, in live lessons, I've created a template which just has like name in a box at the top of the slide, and I've copied that slide for each of my pupils. If you want to use that as a blank slide, that's fine. Or you could add questions to that first slide for name and then copy it with the questions. That means that every pupil has a slide of their own within the same document to look at. Which means if I post this now in a live lesson, the pupils can click on the attachment and I will say like, Lewis, your slide 1, Emma, your slide 2, Claire, your slide 3, and so on. That means they're all working on a different slide, but I can move around the same document quickly, looking at their work and giving them live feedback. I might wish them to do this between live lessons. I might want to work in smaller groups in a whole class. To do that, I keep the settings still to edit the file, but up here on all students, I would just click on that and select perhaps the 4 pupils I want to be in that group, and then I'd post it. Only those 4 pupils would see this. You can then go to reuse post, make sure you've ticked create a new version of the attachments, and when you repost it then, again, you go up here and you just select the different 4 pupils. Do this for each of your groups. They only see their own group, and you can go in and see what they've done. Okay, so that's pupils working collaboratively. If you want the pupils to work on their own interactive tasks, you just click make a copy of each student and post that, and they can work on their own. So let's look at some examples of this. In the CLP classroom, you'll find there's already these retrieval grids made for you. So you can just copy and paste whichever grids you like into your own template that you're posting to your class. This is one of my favourites. So it comes to you completely blank. I've added in common things about biology, and these are common mistakes I know pupils make. So I get the pupils to go in here, use a different colour font, and fix the mistakes to see if they can understand how to improve their language. There's also different template grids, which allow you to do things such as key terms, or you can get them to do extended responses, and you can put prompts down the side. This gives them something to work on and then hand in for you to mark. Now, the other thing you can do, as well as using retrieval grids that are pre-made for you, is create your own interactive slides for pupils. So if you look at this example, you're teaching a National 5 class and you have some pupils doing a different level, it gives them something interactive they can do while you're teaching primarily National 5 things. So for example, in this slide here, I've just added images, and that's really easy to do. It looks a little bit different when you open it up in Classroom. It's easier to open up in slides. It gives you more space to see what you're doing. But basically, you can just go here and you can insert images, and it gives you the option to basically search Google Images, so you can find things straight away. Or you can load images up from your Drive, okay, or search. As I said, it's better to do this in slides than it is in the Classroom view mode. Now I've added 2 boxes here. So to add a text box, you just add the box here, make it the colour you want, and if you right click on it, it gives you the option to add text. So I've added text and I've just made it a question mark so they can answer that question there. On slide 3, I've just copied and pasted the SQA's kind of course notes so they have notes they can read through, and then I want them to show they've understood that. So there's a bunch of options here. they have to just drag and drop the box that they think is correct into the right spot. Now this works well on a desktop, like a laptop. It works well on like an iPad or a tablet as long as they have the Google Slides app, otherwise it's not going to work for them. On a phone it's quite tricky to do dragging and dropping, so it does depend on their devices. Another thing I like about using Slides over Google Documents for some tasks is that Slides allow you to not only add images, but you can add like GIFs. So these are going to move whenever they go to the slide. So it's a little bit more interactive. Now, some of these are just for fun. Some of these are quite good for like showing cheese making. And let's progress down. Some of them, I think, depends on the GIF you find, can actually show the process in action. So that makes it a bit more interactive than just a Word document. Again, here we have one of the kind of slide and drop tasks that I've made. Just made that by creating a circle, adding some arrows. These are my 4 subdivisions, and there's the terms they can choose from. Very easy to make this as well when you say delete the incorrect boxes, so they can just do that. Okay, so here, for example, I just made a question, it's multiple choice to delete the one they want, and you can go through and see if they've got that right. Now you can actually go through this with the people live as well. So normally you can choose one pupils to pick on and go through and look at them. Now, if you insert and add a Google document, if you've just posted a link, it can look like this, and it's okay. They can click on it, and the link comes up, and they can go to YouTube. But if it's a YouTube video, when you go to insert video up here, it's going to ask you for the YouTube link, and if you post that in, it makes it playable straight within the Google document on the slide itself, and it starts playing to them. Okay, and then final type of task here again is just more on drag and drop the boxes to show you how to work. Now, as I said, you can go through this live with a class. Obviously, having to go through and mark can take a bit of time, but you've got different options with marking, so we can look at that now. Now, we can use the private comments here, and I could say on slide 18, there's this mistake, or do this, and give individual ones. You can highlight text within the document, so if they've written an answer that you don't like, you can basically right click on that, scroll down and click add comment, and you can create comments straight away there. The other thing you can use if you've installed the Mote extension is to click on that and just give them a generic thing overall. So you might want to work your way through it, maybe pick 4 things to say, like 2 good, 3 to improve, take a note of the slide numbers on your pen and paper, and then just record your voice, giving them one voice message within the 2 minutes of saying what you liked and which slides to go back and make changes to. Okay, in terms of feedback then, we're trying to reduce the amount of time that teachers spend making the feedback while increasing the amount of time that people spend using the feedback. So for example, I know I've set a question asking people to write a short answer about how enzymes work. And I know what the SQL are looking for this. So I've prepared a marking scheme slide. This one actually I copy and pasted one people's work. So I've highlighted what I like in green. Once that's highlighted, you can add a comment over the top of that one. If I don't like something, it's in red. And again, if they click on that, the comment comes up at the top. And the yellow one, they get the comment there. So they can see the 3 comments. This applies to the whole class. They can all learn from this. Tabs open at the top. And just paste that across each pupil. Probably the first slide, so it's easy for them to find. And they all get feedback then. Bitmoji can also be fun because you can add in different icons and you can make up templates you can use for every class. For example, you could do a whole class feedback. Now this one actually is for Google Forms, like before a slide. So I'm going to post this in my class and say in general what they did well in their Google Forms. And I can tell them in the middle box as a class what they really need to get better at. And then I can actually give them actions to carry out, so the feedback is action based, what they need to do to get better. I can just put a single slide, copy it into a new template, save that in my drive, go and post it on my classroom. Okay. Or you could have templates pre-made you're going to post at the front of their work. So you can just create these to however you like them and post them in to show them. Okay. This is also been useful. Google Slides is also really useful if you're doing things like learner profiles. So if you're getting people to regulate and monitor their own work over the year, they could have a slide that they just keep opening over the year, and they add in information on each of the key areas as they go to make up learning goals of what they need to do. You can add slides in for each unit, you can give them advice on how to revise, and you can add in your templates per unit as like what was the main thing they need to know about ecosystems, like gives them a task to do, what was challenging, so they reflect on it, and then they can go through the different kind of tasks and assessments for learning tasks that you've done. Think about their motivation, their score, think about what they've done, think about their feedback, and what they need to do next. So it's all about making goals. Now, if you have a bigger slide like this, it's quite good to add in hyperlinks. So if you add in these little clicks here within, so you write the word here, highlight over it, you can create a link to within the document itself. So slide 3 takes them back up to the learning goals, which are all at the start. Okay, so to do this, that's got great potential for differentiated work. You could have the first 3 slides for everybody, and then slide 3 could have a link that says, you know, if you think you're confident, click here, it might take them to the last slide. If you're somewhat confident, click here, it takes them to slide 7, for example, and there's some more supported work. Or if you find this quite difficult, click here, and it might take you to a slide with a lot more teacher input, like a video, maybe a voice recording, a worked example. So you can tailor the level of challenge to the people themselves. It's all the same document. They just have to click on that link to see what part of the document they finish on, and then they hand in for you